You are listening to an exclusive interview on Bass Musician Magazine. The interview starts now.
Hey everybody, this is Raul for Bass Musician Magazine, and today we have the great honor and pleasure of chatting with someone who's not a bassist, but an integral part of the bass family, Rhonda Nelson. Rhonda is the wife of bassist Wayne Nelson with Little River Band. Part of the conversation we wanted to have today has a lot to do with the whole support that we musicians enjoy, because nobody's an island, nobody's a rock. We can't do this on our own, and counting with family and life, it all has to happen in addition to the music and the creation and the art that we are so passionate about. So Rhonda, welcome to Bass Musician Magazine.
Thank you.
So that people can know a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of background.
Wow, so Wayne and I have been together 20 years and almost. And, you know, I grew up in Nashville, so I'm a music lover from wee little. That's really that was one of the bonds that we had, obviously. And that's what led me to a concert, which led me to meeting him, which the rest is history after that. Here we are almost 20 years later. So, but I have written a book. I do some motivational speaking, and we have rescue Maltese dogs, and there you go. And currently, right now, everybody's getting to see us on a home search. We live in Florida right now, but we're going to be making a move out to Arizona. So,
gotcha.
While we're looking at houses.
You're less likely to run into any hurricanes in Arizona, so that's always a plus.
Amen. That is a huge reason why last hurricane season about did us in. So
there you go. It's always kind of interesting, because as I get a chance to talk to musicians in different stages in their careers, those that are couch surfing, those that are all crammed together in their car, playing, the smaller venues, to those that are on tour buses, hitting the amphitheaters and the coliseums. I think many of them find it challenging to grasp a family life or be in a relationship. How did you guys make that work? Obviously, after 20 years, it's working.
I'm going to chalk that up to a couple of things. First of all, we're older. I think your priorities, your mentality is way different than when, these guys were in their 20s and the band was or 30s or whatever it was, when the band was charting and having huge hits and playing the huge arenas. So number one, just your own priorities and your own way of thinking is really different. Dare I say you're a little more stable at this age and stage than probably when you're in that party mode. So I think that's one thing. The other thing is, we had both been married before, had gone through some pretty tragic life events within our families by the time we had met. And it really just wasn't an option to not make things work. It takes an amazing amount of trust. It takes dedication, and it takes understanding to live this kind of life. Now, I will tell you that one thing that's different for me, I spend a lot of time on the road with the guys, and that's by choice. Wayne's 68, I'm 51. I don't have kids at home, where some of the other wives do. And they have 8 to 5 jobs. I don't. What I do, if I've got a computer, I can work from anywhere. So that's another, that's a huge difference. If for instance, Wayne's birthday's coming up, and if I want to be with him whatever city he's in, then I can. But not everybody has that option. So I feel really blessed that that's the situation of our life as well. So it is a very different life. It can be hard. It can be grueling. With kids, there's the first football game or the first touchdown is possibly missed. Anniversaries are missed. Birthday parties are missed. A lot of things are missed because of guys being on the road and giving people the music they want to hear. It's something that you have to really be mentally prepared for.
Well, and I recently interviewed a bassist who actually had an interesting comparison, because his dad was in the Navy. And his dad really didn't get why he wanted to be a musician. And after a lifetime of this guy's career, his dad kind of realized that being a musician was almost like being a sailor, that you were in different ports and you were doing your job all over the world. It was just where the job was kind of taking you. Unfortunately, I'll say maybe fortunately, unfortunately, with the Navy, you can't take your family with you. It's not an option,
Right.
Even though you kind of wish you could. But it certainly, I think, helps, cement the bond between you when you can spend at least some time together. I myself am prior Navy and knew people. My last duty station was with submarine families. Those guys are gone underwater 6 months at a time. The hardest job, the t-shirt always read, Navy wife, hardest job in the Navy. It had to do with keeping things going in the absence of, their spouse. And you guys had the good fortune. Again, you can go on the road and do what you do.
If I'm not on the road, I know what city he's in. I know where he is. There's a lot of military wives that don't even have that privilege. So my heart and admiration goes out to military wives, because I have to tell you, yes, the life that we live is different and at times can be hard. What they do is so admirable. They basically raise their families alone, because the people, like you say, the sailors or the infantry or whatever form of military they're in, they can't be there. But what is a correlation? Those guys they're serving their country, which comes from the heart. My husband, the guys in LRB and other musicians, they're doing what they absolutely love and comes from the heart. They're sharing music with people, and they know that music means so much to them. So there's a little bit of you're okay with it, because your partner is doing what is their true passion. So you make it work.
With your book, it's titled A Different Life. It has to do with exactly what we're talking about, this different life.
Yeah, that line, when it came time to decide what the title of the book was going to be, I didn't really have a clue what I was going to call it. And I had one of their records in. I popped the CD in the car. It was one from quite a few years back. It's called Test of Time.
Okay.
And the song where that line came from is called There's a Bus Leaving. And the song is exactly what it is. There's a bus leaving. Now, I was listening to it, and the line says, you lead a different life. And I went, bingo, that's a different life, because that's absolutely what it is. What I've realized now, after the show, the guys go out and they sign autographs, take pictures, hear people's stories, meet the fans. And when I'm on the road, I'll do that with. And that song is not just about a musician getting on a bus and leaving his wife and family behind. What I've come to realize is, and from the stories we've heard and how that song touches people, there's a family taking their son to boot camp or putting him on a bus or a plane to go to boot camp. The truck drivers that get in the truck and are gone for days at a time and leave their families behind, and even the military or the first responders. And here's the other thing. In those professions, the first responders, the military, and whatever, sadly, not everyone gets to come home. So that song really is more than just about a musician getting on a bus and leaving his family behind. It was pretty appropriate for all of that to kind of come together, and I went, bingo, that's it. That's what we're calling the book.
And when you wrote A Different Life, in addition to sharing part of your experiences, and you're a motivational speaker, what were you thinking to accomplish? I mean, what were you going, okay, this is something I need to share?
So twofold. First of all, when somebody, typically, I think when people heard I was writing a book, I think they thought it was going to be this dishy tell-all, and guess what? It's not. It's not a tough read, but it's from the heart, and it's just, and my first motivation for doing it was I wanted to kind of pull back the curtain and let people peek at what our lives are really like. I think when your name is attached to a quote-unquote, and I use this word lightly, rock star or celebrity status, people have a perceived thought about what your life is. Oh, you fly around in planes and you live in the Four Seasons and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, well, not quite. And I wanted people to realize that we're really just like everybody else. We share the same highs, the same lows. Crap happens in our life that's not fun. We're not immune. We don't live in a bubble. So that was the first reason that I wrote the book. The second reason, and it ties into that, so people with that perception, they think everything is easy, and that how, we have this perfect life, kind of immune to hardships and troubles and whatever. And it's quite the opposite. And my message when I do some speaking is love the life that you live, because everybody has something in their life to love. And it just was really important for me to get that message out to people. Every day I don't care if it's something simple as, oh my God, that orange I just got at the fruit stand. Mm-hmm. That was just fabulous. I love that. And I'm so blessed to be able to, have grapefruit, or if it's something more meaningful and deep that I'm thankful for. But every day, I think it's important for people to find one thing every day that you love about your life. Mm-hmm. And so that was really, it was a twofold message that I wanted to get out.
I think many times we do tend to kind of take for granted whatever wonderful thing there is, and we miss a lot of the simple moments.
Absolutely.
Such as an orange, or such as a sunset, or...
So I'm going to give you another example, because this is another passion of ours. 1 in 10 people around the world, now I'm talking worldwide, mm-hmm. do not have access to clean drinking water. What do we do when we want to drink water? We get a bottle of water, we go to the faucet, we put the cup under the faucet, we take a drink. Well, Wayne wrote a song, actually, and the band did a video. It's called Clean Water. And it was for a project that we were working on with a foundation. And I started doing research, and I realized we take such simple things for granted. Getting a drink of water is, not everyone has that luxury. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and that was kind of the thing we do. I think today's society has caused us to be immune to what people in other parts of the world don't have. And we have to be the change to help those people. We have to start paying attention. I sit on the board of an organization down in South Florida where we teach children to respect and protect our waterways. It's such a simple concept, but you can't believe how many kids have no idea. You go out boating and you throw that plastic 6-pack ring into the ocean, you have no idea how you're polluting the waters. You throw your gum on the side of the street and the storm comes and washes it into the storm drain, and that starts floating through the system. You have no idea how that pollutes. And so it's important we have to start with our children. We have to teach them to respect and protect our waterways. And that is the beginning of the movement of the very far into that movement is something as simple as water, clean, fresh water being available to everybody. So it's, I think we do. And you tend to get caught up in this society of everything being handed to us or very easily, readily available. Mm-hmm. And we don't realize that other people don't have it.
I hear you. Well, and sometimes for performing musicians, even though they are things that are maybe everybody else would be expected. I remember we were playing back in my day. I was playing with a group in New York City, and I went to wash my hands in a dressing room, and when I opened the faucet, it came out rusty red. So even in the U.S., you might not get clean water.
Look, Flint, Michigan is a perfect example.
There you go.
I'm not even going to we'll be here for 5 hours if I get on my soapbox about that. But it's an example,
Yeah.
And here's the thing. So let me relate this to kind of the musician side of this. And I don't want to linger on this either because it's another thing that I have. But, this whole thing about the green room writers, and I need this kind of water and this kind of cheese and this kind of this and that. You know what? You're a human being. Water, really, you can't just have bottled water or, I get so annoyed when I start hearing all these stories. And I mean, I've seen it firsthand. Mm-hmm. I've seen these people be just so demanding because they can. And it really, really, like I said, that spins me up. I don't want to get on that soapbox because I'll be here forever. But
I got you. Well, and in my experience, and of course, one of the reasons that we have passion with bass and being a bassist myself is I find that most of the bass players are pretty chill dudes. I don't know if I'm describing Wayne in any Anyway, we tend not to be as demanding as the lead guitarist or some of the more flashy ones, you know.
No, he's if he's not on stage, you hardly know he's around. He's that quiet guy. We kind of always joke, I should really be the one on stage and he should be the one in the background, because he is super, super chill.
See, those are my people.
Yeah.
I know them. It's a general descriptive. Well, Rhonda, how would people go about finding A Different Life? What's the best place to look?
You can find it on Amazon.
Okay.
You can find it at my website, which is rhondaraves.com.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be going through a rebranding situation here pretty soon, so I would say Amazon would be the better way. And if you want to follow us and know kind of some of the stuff that we're doing, you can find me on Instagram, Rhonda B. Nelson.
Gotcha. And if I can imagine that some people that might see this might have more specific questions as they have relationships of their own or they're dealing, and you do coaching. Would it be appropriate if they had a specific question for them to reach out to you? Or
please, they can find me, either message me on Instagram, Facebook is Rhonda B. Nelson. Drop me a message, and I'm always eager to talk to people. Love doing it.
We appreciate you taking time out of your busy house hunting in the sunshine. Folks, Rhonda Nelson, Wayne Nelson's better half, and one of the people that makes it possible for him to bring music with the Little River Band to all of us. Make sure you check out rhondaraves.com. Make sure you check out A Different Life. You've seen her here on Bass Musician Magazine.
Hey, Raul, thank you so much.
Very welcome.
Thanks for bassing out with us here on bassmusicianmagazine.com.